I bought more batteries. I bought a couple of them. This is 70 pounds, in fact, and probably pretty dangerous. I probably shouldn't do that again. There's a good amount of different brands in here. We got Makita Mac, which is based on the DeWalt type battery. Basically, it's a DeWalt battery. In fact, some of these are still full and work just fine. They're good enough. I might keep them as tool batteries, though we have plenty. But for the most part, I think we're going to be breaking these down to the cell level as usual, seeing what we get out of them. These were cheap as balls, as advertised, from Battery Hookup. I think I paid, I don't know how much I paid. And yeah, pretty happy just at first blush with what I got. There were a couple that were less desirably packed. I've repackaged them. Both of them just sort of had terminals flying around, and luckily each one of these was in a different box, so they didn't short on each other, but I didn't really like how that was packaged. And then just one, it looks like, possibly another, that clearly has water damage. I'm not even going to bother taking this one apart. I actually did take it apart a little bit, and it looks like it got submerged and kind of fried itself. There's a lot of evidence of some heat happened in here, so this is just trash. But that's okay, because I have, I don't know, 69.69 additional pounds of batteries, and it's okay if I lose just one. So let's sort them out, take them apart. We'll have a little friendly competition, me and my partner, and we'll see who can take apart the most batteries in the least amount of time. So let's do it. You wanna say a few words?
Hello. These are batteries. We pulled them all out, and my hands are fucked. Sorry, this is YouTube. My hands are fluffed.
Would you say it's worth it?
Not in the slightest.
How many hours have we been out here? It was 1 in the morning, and we started. I don't even know.
Whatever makes you happy. We're gonna go pass out.
Good night. Well, my hands hurt, but it's the next day, and mostly cleaned up, and at least tried to figure out what these cells are. We can bring it in a little bit closer and we can talk about the batteries. So pretty good haul. Still not sure, based on the amount of time and pain that went into this, if it was worth it. However, I'm pretty happy with most of the cells that came out of here. I'm most happy with this pile of VTC 6s. This is pretty good. This is 30. So 30 VTC 6, 3000 milliamp hour power cell. So just like the HP2s that I got out of the HP packs, these are rated at 30 amp. These VTC 5As aren't half bad. 2600 milliamp hour, 25 amp. So these are pretty close, still pretty good. I was surprised how shitty these other Sonys are. They're pretty old and discontinued. These Vs, US 18650V. Got 10 of those, 1500 milliamp hour, and nobody really knows what they're rated at. If I had to guess, I'd say 10 amps. Not super thrilled about these. Same with these VTs, US 18650 VTs. These ones, 1300 milliamp hour, 10 amp. So these are meh. I am not a fan of Sanyos. They generally tend to test like crap. They tend to run hot. They just suck. I just don't like them. They're poor quality. I think they got bought by Panasonic at some point, and supposedly the quality went up. Let me turn that heater off. 1 second. Yeah, so they got bought by Panasonic at some point, and the quality supposedly went up, but I don't know when that was. Admittedly, I've mostly tested laptop Sanyo cells. These could be better, and I'm going to give them a shot in the tester, and we'll see how they do, but I'm not holding my breath. These red with blue are the 18650RX, and these are the SAs, 18650SA. I've definitely gotten these before with the brown insulator. They're not great. I'll withhold judgment very temporarily, but they're not gonna do good. Good amount of LGs. I like LG. LG's a good brand. I generally haven't had any problems with LG cells that I've come across, new or otherwise. Of these, we have a lot of HE2s. These are good power tool cells, then that's why they're using power tools. On top of that, we got a bunch of HA1s, which are a little less good. You know, I'll find a use for them, I'm sure. Okay, let's talk about these. These things. These fucking things. So I got these from Battery Hookup. They're like $1.99, which is great because these things are not sturdy. It doesn't matter that they're from Battery Hookup or whatever. I snapped the tip off of one of these, and it's not the first time that's happened. I had a pair of Xuron that were great. Snap the tip straight off of them. These are not meant for really high load situations where you're just really like reefing on them. They're just generally not meant for that. There's a discussion in the DIY battery Facebook group about this last night, and it's pretty much the general consensus. Expect to lose some of these. Wear safety goggles. Wear safety glasses. Because when this comes flying off of there, if it hits you in the eye, you're going to have a bad time. I switched to wearing safety glasses actually last night because I had a piece of nickel come up and hit me in the eye, and it was unpleasant. And I only have one eye that works, so I really would like to keep that one working. So wear safety goggles. It's really, really important. And just expect to lose some of these. Just buy them in bulk. Buy like 10 of them the next time you order, and just keep them on hand because you're going to break some. They dull. You break the tip off of them. They're disposable. So treat them as such. Anyway, these are HB4s, so I've gotten HB2s out of the HP packs. Those are teal, and I've gotten some HB4s out of a DeWalt pack before that were yellow. This is the first time I've seen it with the brown wrapper. I got real excited and thought these were HG2s, which would have been really nice, but they're not. Still pretty good though. They're just like the other HB4s and HB2s that I have. And then I also got, I guess, a sibling in the family, some HB3s. And I thought that these were going to be identical to the other HB varieties, thinking like it was a generational thing. But apparently the 3s have a lower maximum discharge. So the 3s are only rated at 22 amp discharge versus the even numbered ones, which are rated at 30. So happy to have another member of the family on board, and it will sit on the shelf with the rest of the batteries. And then Samsung. A large number of Samsung batteries of different varieties, a couple of which I haven't seen before, and one of which I have many of sitting around, namely these 15Ms. These are pretty common power tool batteries. I've gotten these out of a lot of Milwaukee batteries. I think these came out of the Ryobis. These are pretty good cells. Samsung's pretty easy to decipher at least what the capacity is. The 15 means 1500 milliamp hour. Like these are 1300 milliamp hour. These are 2000 milliamp hour. The letter at the end, not so easy to decipher. I've tried to figure out if there's maybe like a correlation, but I haven't been able to find one. So the Second Life Storage cell database is your friend here. They have most of all of these up there, and you can get easy access to cell specifications, pictures, data sheets, all of that. Good discussion. I'll link to that in the description. It's definitely worth checking out, and that forum's definitely worth checking out. There's a lot of smart people there, and a lot of really useful information. So the Samsungs. Got 13Bs, 13Qs, 15J, which are a little old in terms of like age. I don't know. They're not being manufactured anymore. 15Ms, like I said, and then 20Qs, which are 2 amp hour and 15 amp discharge. So, is that enough numbers for you? Finally, I was not expecting anything but 18650s, really. Maybe some NiCads or something that would just go straight into the recycling bin, but actually got some Molicel 26700s. These came out of those husky, kind of, I thought were going to be shit battery packs, but each one had 4 of them just kind of like super glued together, which was not great, but whatever. They're in pretty poor condition. Most of the cell wrappers are just shredded. I tried to rewrap some of them relatively safely with Kapton tape. A couple different colors, but these are the same model number, IBR-26700A. I got 18 of these, which is something. I think I looked these up at 3,000 milliamp hour, and discharge, yes, they can discharge. I don't know what it is. 2,800 milliamp hour discharge current, 40 amps. 40 amps that's pretty good. That's what, like 12C, I guess, or something, math. So if these are still good, if these still have pretty good capacity at 40 amp discharge, they're worth keeping around and doing something with. Who knows? We'll see. So let's talk about the shitty batteries that I got. Let me move you again. Alright. As you can see, I've situated myself next to the trash can. I'm not going to put these in the trash can because that's dangerous. However, these are all trash. Got a lot of nickel. I don't know why I save it. There's some that comes out that's like totally reusable. Look at this big honker. But nickel is expensive, and therefore I just keep it. I would like to experiment with like melting it down and see if I can just get like a bar of nickel. And then I still would not know what I would do with it, but it would be cool. Okay, these batteries. Some of these we just straight up didn't even bother with. I showed you the one in the bag at the beginning. Some of the 26700s just were in too poor of condition. Like this one's obviously corroded. Some of these just, the electrolyte leaked out and it's corroded the cells, or there's holes in them, or just gross stuff. Like, I'm not gonna even bother with these. You can tell, like, this one's just like pimply and clearly overheated or just got submerged. Some of these, as Tyler put last night, look like they spent years at the bottom of a lake. I mean, just disgusting. Totally not worth, if these are even good anymore. I mean, these are the HA ones. Like, I'm not gonna risk anything with this. I don't even want to touch that. This pack looks like it had been crushed like this way, and the cells are just like bent in. In fact, when I was taking it apart, this one on the end here, from being crushed, had pressure inside and just started leaking electrolyte like a constant stream. So that's probably not safe. Smells like shit. Smells like somebody's just spray painting in your general vicinity. Really acrid smelling, probably really not good for you. This one was actually my fault. I got a little overzealous with the flush cutters and snipped the corner of the cell off. Luckily on the negative side, so that one is just kind of wrapped up. Oops. What else? Just crappy looking batteries. Nothing in particular worth mentioning, I don't think. More of that. Just more clearly corroded, pimply batteries. None of this is worth it. Really not worth the time. I think, I don't know how much all this weighs out of like the total 70 pounds. I would say this is like 60, 70 cells. So, plus whatever's in these, 80 cells. So that kind of sucks. But again, it's for the price that I paid, which I still didn't look up and I still don't remember. Okay, so I paid $120 for all 70 pounds. So I paid $1.70 a pound. So that, I guess that makes it hurt a little bit more. I thought I paid a lot less. Whatever. So I lost $17 or so. Still not terrible. I mean, this kind of to be expected. These are salvage tool batteries. Tool batteries get kicked around. They get submerged at the bottom of a lake. They get submerged at the bottom of a flooded toolbox. They get frozen. They get thawed. They get overheated, overworked. They get thrown around, tossed off buildings. I mean, you name it, it's probably happened to some of these batteries. I'll capacity test all of these, do the usual. I'll get them at the end of the video. Maybe I'll do some sort of like pie chart or something, some nice visualization. Because me just saying numbers to the camera is not probably the best way for anybody to get any sort of information. But I will put all the numbers in the description too, so you can check it out there. So let me get cleaned up, test all of these and get them set up in the testers, and I guess I'll get back to you in like 3 or 4 days whenever all this is done testing. Try to selfie mode the giant DSLR with the fisheye on it, but I wanted to show the testing setup here. This is not usually where it is. I try to keep it in the garage, but that's currently being used for woodworking right now. This is the setup. I have these Xtar VC4S tester charger units. I've been picking these up as they go on sale on Amazon. They're okay. They're not the best. I'm not sure if they're the most accurate even. I've done like repeat tests with them. I've put the same cell in a couple times in a row, and it's always come out within, I don't know, 10 or 20 milliamp hours. So at least it's accurate with itself. I guess that's, good enough. I eventually would like to get some different chargers and try to do like an accuracy test and see what's the best. I also have dreams and aspirations of making my own test bench, because these have a lot of features that are missing that I would really like. Temperature monitoring and graphing and being able to like print out labels for these so I can track them and stuff like that. But that's all on the project list, I guess, which is infinitely growing. So generally how I do stuff here, here we have the crappy batteries. These are the 0 volt or thereabouts. These are the good batteries, or hopefully good batteries. For me, at least, put it in perspective, seeing the giant stacks of them like that, compared to just having them laid out on the table, just how many batteries are here. I still haven't counted them. But generally, my process is I pre-charge the batteries so that the things that are actually doing the testing don't take quite as long, because I only have capacity for 16 batteries here. These will charge, discharge, charge, and if I have to wait for them to charge, that just adds so much time onto this that I'm just wasting. So what I'll do is I actually have some that are done here. I pre-charge these and stage them here to be put into the testers. It helps to have a partner who was into like budget flashlight forum stuff, because we have a lot of 18650 chargers and stuff, so it really kind of got me set up before I myself got into all this. As soon as I kind of get into the swing and all of these are pre-charged, what I'll actually do is once these finish testing, they'll display a solid number on one of these here. I'll just write the number on the cell itself, and then I'll put them back in these chargers to recharge them up, and then really all the time that needs to be spent in these is just for the capacity testing. That saves a considerable amount of time when you have such a small setup here. So, anywho, pre-charge, capacity test, recharge, and then I start making a pile of the finished ones. This will probably take me 2 or 3 days. Yeah, that's the setup. Oh yeah. Before you leave, let's get a little bit more light going on. This is the ever-growing Wallow batteries. Here's all the HB2s from those HP packs, and then just an ever-growing collection. Some empty. This is gonna be full soon, but I try to keep everything labeled, and sometimes on the backs of these I'll actually write like when they were tested. Is this a good example? Yeah, look at that. Tested November 30th. Look at me being all organized. It's very unlike me. But I figure with something as dangerous as batteries, I should probably be organized and safe. So these will get filled up. I just get these from Ace Hardware. They're pretty cheap. I wish they were cheaper. Quantum, I probably find them online for cheaper. But these are nice. They stack. They don't quite hold the cells like perfectly. I would prefer that I didn't have this extra space on the side here. I stack them positive on this side so that any of these that happen to short, it's not going to do anything. But I can fit a considerable amount of batteries in there. So this is where everything lives, and that's where all this is soon to join. Here we are again, back at the desk. It has been considerably more than 3 or 4 days. It's been over a week. It took a lot longer than I was expecting to test all these batteries. They're all tested now. And I'm pretty happy with the haul. Loosely grouped it into 3 separate groups here. So, starting with the largest pile, these are all the cells that were more than 90%, so basically new or new-ish. There's 183 cells out of the total 432, so this is a little bit less than half, 42.4% of the cells that fell into this category. I guess when you look at it percentage-wise, that doesn't sound great, but that's kind of to be expected with salvage tool batteries or salvage batteries of any kind, because you're going to have a certain percentage of the batteries that are just DOA, and that's the reason why the batteries were tossed in the first place. In here we have probably, I mean, the best 30 VTC6s, Sony VTC6. These all tested over 2,900 milliamp hours, and they're basically brand new. So this is $140 or more worth of cells, which more than makes up for the cost of all of the salvage tool batteries. So that's a win right here. Not even taking into account any of these other cells that are behind me. There you go. I made my money back. If I were to sell them, which I might, but you know, I'll probably just hoard them, I guess. The other 90% ones, we have the HE2s, LG HE2s, and the Sony Vs and VTs. Most of the Vs actually fell into a lower category. There's only like 1 V here. I'm not going to get into all the details because I know like there's only so many numbers I can say at the camera and have it be good content, and I think I've already passed that number. So I will leave all of the details in the description. I'll probably link to like a Google Doc or a sheet or something that details everything, everything's capacity, what I recovered, what I didn't recover, the cost breakdown, etc. Hi, Vincent. You're gonna have to get down, baby. The biggest number of cells of any one kind that I got was these Samsung 20Rs. I have a bunch of these 20Rs already from other tool batteries or what have you that I recovered. These are 2 amp hour, 2000 milliamp hour, 22 amp batteries. So these are great. I mean, it's not 30 amps, but 22 amps is still pretty good. And the 20Rs are pretty well respected. So, little surprised. Remember? Flashback. I am not a fan of Sanyo. Generally tend to test like crap. They just suck. I just don't like them. I was talking shit about the Sanyos, and I did not expect much out of them. I've been proven wrong. The Sanyos actually did good. At least the RX, the red with blue insulator. These are 1950 milliamp hour, basically 2000. And almost all of the RXs tested over 90% capacity, which is surprising for me. But a nice surprise. Other things that are in here, a couple of the SA, also Sanyos, red with brown insulator. These are only 1200 milliamp hour, rated at 10 amps, so slightly less exciting, but nice to be proven wrong about Sanyo. I still don't hold them in high regard. Most of the cells that I've gotten out of laptop batteries have been awful. Maybe I got newer cells, or maybe my bias is unjustified, but either way, the Sanyos did pretty okay. And the last bit in here, some LG HA1s. The HA1s are 1700 milliamp hour, 15 amp, nothing super amazing. Most of those recovered just fine too. If you're looking for these VTCs, because that's pretty much the most valuable thing, these VTCs came out of Ryobi 1 Plus or 1 Lithium, Lithium Plus or something like that. They're the gray or silver drill batteries with the stock and some green accent on it. So look out for those. Those are where you'll probably get a lot of VTCs. So that's pretty much it for the 90%. Again, I'll have all the details about what was recovered and what wasn't in the description, so you can check it out if you really want to dig through all the numbers. So after that, we have the cells that were under 90%, but above or equal to 80%. Not very many in this category, as you can see, compared to the 90%. We have just 84 cells here as opposed to the 184 of the 90% cells. So good to see, not a lot of bad cells. I mean, just in general here. Not a lot of bad cells. This is pretty good in my opinion. I mean, even if you take into account the completely dead cells. Tangent over. So of the 80% category, the majority of them were the Samsung 15Ms. These are the 1500 milliamp hour 22 amp cells. I've commonly found these in Milwaukee or DeWalt tools. They're good cells, but these ones all tested in the like upper 1200s, low 1300s range. Still usable by all accounts, but still less than 90%. So here they are. The Surprise 26700s did pretty bad as a whole. None of them tested over 90%, and in fact, most of them tested in the low 80% or were completely dead. That was pretty much the only two things that you got. So I still don't even know if I'm going to keep these. I don't have any plans, or I don't even know what I'm going to do with these. I only basically got 5 usable 26700 cells. So these will probably just get re-recycled, or I'll just hang on to them for a while. I'm not super keen on these. They were obviously sitting around for a really long time and were not in the best condition, and they weren't in packs that were put together super well. So not surprising, but not really disappointing. Other things in the 80%, we have a slew of some of the RX Sanyos. So some Sanyos didn't quite make the cut, but again, the majority of the Sanyos did pretty good. Though in this range, we do have a large number of the SAs, the smaller capacity batteries, which, what are you gonna do? This is kind of just a hodgepodge of a little bit of everything. The majority of the 80 to 89.9% cells were the 15Ms, the runner-up being the Sanyo RX, and right after that is the Sanyo SA. Again, 84 cells in the 80% range. Not terrible. I'll probably still keep them. Find something to do with them. Here we are with the first of the basically trash cells. There is a pretty good mix of stuff in here. Some cell types just flat out didn't make the cut at all, not a single cell. In here are like the 13B Samsungs. None of those were good. They all tested under 1,000. There's a smattering of Sanyos, a smattering of LGs, all of the 26700s that were alive but shitty in the 1500s or worse. And then you also have the LG HB3s, which I was excited to get because another member of the HB family. But these were all awful. These are all awful. Not a single one of them tested over like 600 milliamp hours, and in fact, most of them were dead. So that's a little disappointing. Just personally, like, it's expected, but I'm disappointed because gotta catch them all, or whatever. So in here, again, it's just a mix of different cell types. The largest quantity of any one type are the LG HE2s, followed by the Samsung 15Ms, which again, took up the majority of the 80% range, and some of them just didn't quite make the cut, though they were pretty close. Almost all of them were within 50 milliamp hours, so I'd probably almost consider them to go in the same bucket as the 15Ms that I got, but by the numbers, they didn't make it. Okay, and now we have the last of them. This is just dead batteries. These cells would not recover or had extremely high internal resistance. Like one of them tested at 3,000 milliohms, so like 3 ohms of internal resistance. Didn't let that one charge. That would be dumb. 26700s are pretty prevalent in here. There's 7 of them. Not super surprising. They just wouldn't take a charge. They were either a dead short or just had such high resistance that the charger just wouldn't even recognize them. And other than that, I mean, it's a little bit of everything. There's HB3s, like I said, most of them didn't fare so well. Almost all of the Samsung 15Js made it into here. They were all dead except for one. And just a little bit of everything, just as to be expected. Out of the total 432 cells recovered, there was only 28 that fell into this category of recoverable but dead. So, was it worth it? Even though I made all of my money back, technically, I could make my money back, I suppose, if I sell the VTCs, and just with the sheer number of 90% plus cells, if I could find a buyer, I could easily make my money back. Or, just looking at it from the perspective of if I would have bought these cells for myself, for my own projects, I would have already made out pretty good. Total recovery of 62% of all 432 cells possible, greater than 80% capacity. So I would consider all of this to be usable. I would consider the red buckets to not be usable and basically be recycles. How does that leave me cost-wise? If you take into account the whole of all of the cells, the cost per cell boils down to 27.8 cents per cell, which is still great. I mean, battery hookups had 30-something cent cells, and this beat that. If you take into account only the 80% plus cells, it's actually still pretty good. I paid 43.5 cents per cell for all of these cells that were 80% or better. So that's basically unbeatable. That's of course not taking into account all of the time and effort that went into it, but I would do that anyways because I don't know, what else am I gonna do on the weekend? I can't leave the house. Final verdict, I guess. Was it worth it? Yes, I think so. At 43 cents per cell for all these perfectly usable cells that I got, and especially because of the 30 VTC6s, absolutely. I think I basically made my money back and then some in the value of these cells. Would I do it again? Probably. Would my partner do it again? Probably not. I think they enjoyed doing it for my sake, but I'll probably be on my own next time. However, it was a fun experience. I enjoyed taking packs apart, kind of like a, I guess, borderline gambling type of thing. But it's like opening mystery packs or whatever. You know, the little packs with the figurines in them. You open one up and you don't know what you're gonna get, and then, oh my god, it's VTCs, or fuck, it's Sanyo. I'm not saying that you should gamble on batteries. Do not, in fact, do not gamble on batteries. This isn't the lottery. You're not gonna win. All you're gonna win is batteries, and that's not gonna pay your rent. It's a gamble. I mean, and I mean that in, I guess, a literal and figurative sense. You're taking a risk with salvage cells, especially tool cells, like I said, which are tossed around and neglected a lot. So do it if you want. Don't do it if you don't want. I'm not promoting anything in particular. Again, there is all the details you want to know about these cells and the recovery and the cost and whatever in the description. So check that out, and I guess I'll see you the next time I buy a bunch of batteries. Until next time.